Welcome to PMS, a show where we discuss our experiences with physical, mental, and spiritual wellness as Black women. Today, I'm back with Vivianne Woods, one of my best friends, to kind of chat about a lot that's been going on. So recently, I came across an expose, and I think a lot of people came across this because it was released yesterday, that detailed Shaun King. The expose was entitled "Shaun King Keeps Raising Money and Questions About Where It Goes," and it was written by someone named Callie Holloway. And basically, through this very long article, she went down, kind of bullet point by bullet point, the issues that people have kind of come to have with him over the years. And being that he's such a prominent community leader right now, especially in the realm of celebrity, and he was honored at Rihanna's Diamond Ball. He has a lot of traction when it comes to the Black Lives Matter movement. And I think it's really important having conversations about holding those people in high positions accountable. So I kind of wanted to open the conversation about his position and if he has helped the community or if he has been more of a detriment. A lot of people are calling him a fraud, a liar, all of those terms. But I just kind of wanted to start the conversation by asking your initial thoughts on Shaun King kind of before this expose came out, and then kind of, how you looked at him or perceived him, after the situation.
Yeah. Before the expose, I had heard some things about him fundraising money that was going missing.
Right.
I heard more concerning to me personally was him suing Black and queer activists
Yes.
who brought up their issues with him. And I was kind of bewildered as to why a white man is the face of Black Lives Matter, or this new, civil rights movement that we're kind of upon.
Right.
And also wondering why so much, some people call it trauma porn, was being shared by him, despite a lot of people's advice to just not do that.
Right.
After the expose, under the jail. I want him under the jail. He's cut.
I suggest he packs his bags.
I suggest he packs his bags. Period.
That's what I said.
He just seems to, at the very least, he seems to mismanage money, to aim too high, and to kind of not keep his word. And at the very worst, he is a fraud. He seems to be a fraud who takes money, who tries to kind of backpedal and, provide receipts on where this money is going. But then there's discrepancies even within that. And he just, why did we ever think that a white man was going to be our voice?
That's a great question.
I don't know. It wasn't me, but yeah.
That's a great question. No, I remember, I have very similar feelings that you have. I actually remember kind of for a while having discourse with people about my distaste or distrust with Shaun King. And the question was kind of always well, what has he done? And it always gets into the identity politics of, who he says he is, that he's apparently a biracial man, but we don't have any knowledge or evidence that is true. But aside from that, whatever identity issues he has, that's none of my business. Well, it is, but aside from that, I also remember when there were a few women that I have been following for a while. Clarissa Brooks, I know she was one of the women that he threatened to sue when she basically asked the same question, kind of where's the money that you've been fundraising all of these years going? He has a fundraiser for everything that comes out. anything in the world. Like Shaun King has a fundraiser for it, I felt like. So in high school, I felt like his page became popular because I remember, coming across it at that point, and that was at the time when a lot more, like you said, trauma porn of basically, violence against Black Americans circulating over and over again. And I always found it a bit like off-putting or strange, odd to me that who at first glance I thought this was a white man, it was consistently sharing all of these violent, hate, all of these racially, violent hate crimes. And it seemed like his audience was a lot of white people and a lot of white liberals. So it rubbed me the wrong way. And over time, I started to feel like his activism, or whatever he wants to call this, is nothing more than a stunt that he's it's nothing more than an avenue of income for him. I don't think that he has pure intentions in this, and I think that that's pretty. I think you can see that in the way that he has operated and the way that he's navigated these spaces and these large followings. Like, you have millions of followers and you consistently, repost traumatizing, like horrifying content. And not to say, that the discussion right now isn't whether or not, those things should be shared. But personally, I have my own opinions on that. But at the same time, it's just that there's a almost like his attachment to doing that is like, it's what's going to keep people coming. It's like what is getting his attention and the followers. And to me, he felt much more like an influencer than an activist. And after reading that article and having, many concerns and issues with him for a while, I have not followed that man in years. And after reading it, it was just like, it not to say that everybody's complaints previous, like I didn't take them seriously, because I did. That's why I had so many issues with him. But it was just like, oh, somebody to have so much gall to take up such a important platform, and to me be taking advantage of a lot of people. Reading that article, like, what did you feel like were some of the biggest problems that stood out to you in terms of like him feeling like there's something off, there's this isn't inauthentic, what was it really that really threw him under the, like you said, under the jail?
Definitely his unwillingness to listen. When people told him that opening multiple offices for, I believe, the North Star was too ambitious, he didn't listen to them, and then he failed. When people tell him, a lot of people, I know that they comment, I don't follow him either, but I know that they comment, and even if they don't follow him, people are saying, like, stop sharing these traumatizing videos of Black people, and that seems to be his medium.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And just the discrepancies with the money. Like, I don't remember every detail because it was a very long article, but it was like, I don't understand how one person can be getting all this money, but like, where is it going? What are you doing with it? You know what I'm saying? Where is it going, and what are you doing with it? And I haven't, and then back to the suing of the two Black queer activists, that really bothered me more than the money, I think, as I said before. Because it's one thing to mismanage money or what seems like intentionally stealing from people, and it's another thing for when people try to call you out on it and hold you accountable, you threaten to sue them. Like, that is just evident of his intentions. And what he's there to do, which is to make money off of traumatizing experiences that happen to black people, period.
Right. 1,000%. And I agree. Like there were so many issues in that article. It was hard for me to like literally gather the laundry list. The laundry list. Like, for one, when people question, you know, how much money he has raised for ventures that have not panned out, his response is, you know, I want people to understand that failure isn't fraud. All right, number one, sir. I want to ask you, Shaun King, how many Black people you know who can go ahead and start 20, however many fucking startups they want, and, you know, just rely on the donations of white liberals and celebrities who, you know, aren't really tapped into the organization of what's going on. How many people do you know can just fail aimlessly 7 times and then you still want a paycheck? You still want somebody to subscribe to you and give you some money. That's what I'm confused about. Number one, failure is fraud when you are continuously failing and saying, but just give me more money, I'm gonna do it right the next time. I don't want to hear that shit. Him making North Star and just previous employees of his sign NDAs so that they couldn't fucking speak about their negative experience. That says enough to me. And not only that, but the fact that a lot of them kind of talked about the fact that the severance was, you know, contingent on whether or not they signed an NDA. So like, you're essentially threatening people's livelihoods and their financial situation for no other reason other than you just don't want them to expose you. I remember reading in the article there was an issue with the payment system for a couple of months. So so members weren't charged or weren't charged, and his staff members, when they realized this, they said, hey, we shouldn't just charge their back accounts because, you know, people aren't expecting a random charge. You know, people are already donating out of the kindness of their heart. You don't know what people's financial situations are. And against their advice, again, this man, because he doesn't take anyone else's advice, he runs shit, again, like a white man. But because he knows it all, but he also admits that he don't know it all at the same time. So I'm confused. But he went ahead and charged he went ahead and sent an email sending to those members that they were going to be charged. Members were upset because they're like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, you're just telling me you're going to make a random charge on my account? That doesn't make sense to me. And he, instead of owning up to that issue, he threw his work team under the bus and said that, you know, it was them who sent the email and that their cards weren't going to be charged without their permission. And then he went ahead and charged their cards anyway. So that, come on now. Making the inconsistent monetary claims that, you know, he has a certain amount of subscribers and they're paying a certain amount of money, but then when he's asked about it explicitly in the interview, the numbers don't add up. Again, I'm going to link the article below just so you can, you know, do your research. But again, they're threatening the legal action against Black women and Black queer women who have been activists longer than he has. And another thing that really fucking pissed me off when I read the article was the two women who were supposed to be, I guess, the host of his new broadcasting show, and he told that his critiques were that they needed to be their best Black self, and that he felt like, you know, I'm like, you, sir, are not in the position to tell anybody that they need to be their best Black self, because you don't even know what that means.
He doesn't.
Let's talk about let's for a brief second talk about the racial makeup apparently of this man. He says that his mother possibly, I don't know, slept with a Black man who possibly is his father. He doesn't know who his father is, but apparently that's what the story is. That's what he tells.
Even that is so vague and so like, I don't know. There's a you look white, so you walk through the world as a white person. If you are not Shaun King, if you were Dave in Buster, I don't know. Like, people would see you and they would say that you're a white person, and furthermore, you're acting like a white person. You're stealing money, you're suing people, you are making people sign NDAs, you know, and your entire medium is traumatizing like footage of Black people being murdered. Like,
period.
I don't even have words.
I don't have words either. Him, again, going back to his claims that the company, the North Star, this was back in April. He said that the North Star had, what did he say? 25,000 subscribers. They were paying about $25 a month. When he was asked by the interviewer in May how many subscribers they had, he said they had about 12,000 subscribers paying about $5 a month. That's a huge discrepancy because one of those numbers is $625,000 a month, and the other one is $60,000. So I'm confused how it went from this to a tenth of that. That doesn't add up to me. So circling back to him being in this position that he's in and in this position of power, a lot of people will kind of not praise him, but excuse this sort of behavior because they'll say, okay, well, he's actually, getting, getting information out to different people, or he's promoting different GoFundMes or whatever. He's all of the stuff that people would, I guess, acknowledge him for. But do you feel like he's in any way using his platform to really just take advantage? There was a quote in the article that I'm not sure who said it because I'm pretty sure they were anonymous. A lot of people had to speak anonymously. They said that Shaun King sells wokeness to white people. And I kind of want to break that down. How do you feel about that? And is that a way that he is taking advantage of his platform?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like sharing these videos of Black people being murdered doesn't benefit Black people. It only adds to the daily racial trauma that we experience in this country. So who is it really benefiting? You know what I'm saying? Right. He absolutely is selling wokeness to white people because if it's not benefiting Black people, and I don't know how to put my thoughts into words. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
It's just it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense as to why it's so important that we see these videos of these Black bodies being taken from us, and I think that white people value that kind of shock value. I think that it
doesn't sit right with me either. I think that it's definitely been a way that they talk about desensitization and how those videos can desensitize us. I don't think they desensitize us at all. I think that it just reminds white people that this is the norm and that it's going to continue to be the norm because, we have just not even, I don't even want to talk about all the videos over the past 2010s or whatever that we have of, Black people being murdered or experiencing extreme forms of violence. This is hundreds of years worth of history and violence. There's never been a moment in history where the white oppressors in this country have seen, footage or photo or heard story of these incidents. And if you are partaking in that oppression, you're partaking in it. You can't empathize for the victims of that when you are actively, contributing to their pain and their harm. So I think that it stresses me out a bit that he has so many white liberals, especially, who back him religiously and all of these things, because it's kind of like you all are contributing to, you know, essentially letting America know over and over and over again that this is continuing to happen, and that there has been no, you know, sort of advancement towards change. I'm sorry, all the white liberals who want to throw $1 at him for something, I don't care about that dollar. I really do not give a fuck about what money you had to donate. If you're not putting your life on the line for Black people and Indigenous people in this country, then there's really nothing you can do or say, because to dismantle this anti-Black white supremacist ass system we have, it's not dollar bills that's going to do that. You can't donate that shit away. You can't retweet that shit away. That's the shit that pisses me off about this situation, because I feel like he's given a new name to what it means to be, you know, an activist or doing something. It's a retweet. It's like a repost, you know, like I'm doing it. I'm doing something. I'm saying that this is wrong. But you're not actively, you know, fighting with those people who are doing these things. You're not actively, somebody's FaceTiming us. We'll have to get with him later. But it's just like, if you're not actively, you know, the man who, like, we've seen way too many crimes and know too many names to reference, but just for quick reference, what happened, rest in peace to George Floyd, that man who, you know, put his knee on his neck and crushed his windpipe. There are people in that man's family who see the racism and who know who he is, you know, who participate in that, who are like-minded thinkers. And if there is somebody in that family that thinks this shit is wrong, there needs to be an active, you know, there has to be an active disavowal and trying to change that within your own, you know, community structure. Retweeting a video of a Black person being harmed does not do anything for the white people who don't care regardless. It doesn't do anything for the white people who are participating in it, other than it just, you know, is reaffirming that for them. And then for the white people who think it's, you know, I'm saying something, I'm doing something, like, no, it's not doing anything. Actually, you retweeting that and putting that, you know, on someone else's timeline can be much more damaging than it is beneficial. So I think that there's just been a lot of the whole situation just kind of makes me cringe, because even when you know, with what happened to Ahmaud Arbery, you know, just last month, I felt, you know, sick to my stomach that lynching of him went viral. That should not be the standard for there to be change. And white liberals need to put their mouth where their fucking money is, because the money that they keep contributing, it's not, you know, causing systemic and substantial change. Like, you know, it shouldn't have to get that far. It shouldn't have to appear on Shaun King's timeline for somebody to give a fuck about it. Like,
exactly.
That's quite honestly how I feel. And I kind of want to talk about too, because as a journalist and as someone who has an Africana Studies degree, it's pretty, like, it makes me cringe, and it makes me a little bit like, what the fuck's going on? That this man, you know, is trying to, I guess, reinvent Frederick Douglass's newspaper, his abolitionist newspaper, where, like, the entitlement and privilege that comes in there is just crazy to me, especially because through reading, it was actually his partner Dixon's original idea. He didn't have the money, he didn't have the name recognition, you know, he didn't have the resources to, like, get it off the ground. And Shaun King helped do that and then pushed him out of the business. So there's a, like, it just makes me, it just doesn't sit right with me that this man is trying to, like, you know, do something in Frederick Douglass's name.
No, absolutely.
I'm confused about that.
And it's, first of all, the audacity as like I said, a white man to try to take the iconic Frederick Douglass's work and rebranded as his own, the audacity to kick a so-called partner out of the picture after they've given you the idea and you can now take credit for it. And then the audacity to make it not work. What made Shaun King think after all of his other failures that he was going to make it work? What made Shaun King think that he was the one that was supposed to be revitalizing it? Only his entitlement and only his white privilege. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting. Everything about him is disgusting. And I want him under the jail, electric chair, all of the above.
Like I said, they need to drag his ass to hell. Like, that's what we need. Everybody, drag, because he doesn't deserve to have the platform and money and responsibility that he has right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna kind of like wrap the conversation up just to kind of like give our final thoughts on it. But I did want to touch on how he, like you mentioned, the privilege, how he weaponizes his privilege, in my opinion, because, like you just said, the way that he is so entitled in the fact that he, not only deserves a space here, but that he is the one to get the job done. That he's the one to speak on Blackness, and he's the one to speak on Black issues. And that when people have an issue with him, it's mind-boggling to me that when people get upset about him resharing these traumatic, horrible crimes, his response is always, that it's upsetting to the family, to see people upset about that. And yeah. I don't agree with that. I'm like, to me, your actions are more harmful and hurtful to the family. Like, personally, I can't even imagine what it felt for any one of the loved ones of any of the victims that he's ever posted to, come across something so horrifying. I don't believe that for a second. I think that families are just as affected by his, like, intense want to put everything on, like, broadcast, and it's a lot. And I think it's very I wouldn't say necessarily disrespectful. It is disrespectful, but there's like a level of he just doesn't have really concern for anyone else other than what it means in his head. He also just, through that article that I read, I felt like there were a lot of instances where his not even through the article, actually. Let me pull it to after I read the article, because I was waiting, because somebody tweeted, and they were right, that he was itching to make another GoFundMe, but he can't do that without addressing the article first. And I thought that shit was hilarious, because it's true. But why did I get on his Twitter yesterday, and all of the tweets, since the article has came out, he didn't not want to address the expose. And a lot of his tweets are about, that he wants people to pray for his mom because his mom's going through surgery or something. Okay, whatever. But I also saw that he, in the midst of being, called out on the fact that he has not successfully completed or followed through with any of the North Star projects, he released a new show yesterday. All of a sudden, he was like, hold on, what's the show called? Let me pull it up. He was like, hold on a second. We have new content for y'all. And I think that shit is just so, isn't that so motherfucking ironic? How
that is, it really is.
They ain't have shit on the website yesterday, but then he got exposed and he said, oh wait, no, you guys. No.
Come on, he's a fraud, a phony, full of baloney, all of it. Check out my mixtape, guys.
But for real,
I feel like nothing else I could say sums it up more perfectly than he's a white man trying to take up the mantle of Black activists and Black activism. He feels that it is his right to speak on these things. He feels as though it is his right to collect this money despite mishandling it at the very least. He feels it is his right to push all these projects besides the fact of not being able to successfully complete a single one of them. And that entitlement comes from nothing but whiteness. Shaun King is a white man. Period. Electric chair.
Electric chair. That's that on that. So I will end it there. Thank you so much for chatting with me. I feel like I want to do this with you every week. Like, we might just have to do like bi-weekly episodes or something. We really should, because like we're right here.
We're right here always.
You know, we were just talking about how we should really get on here. Well, because me and you are both biracial, so I feel like we could really talk about all these biracial people who have been losing their fucking minds. Right? Okay, right? Like, because, you know, this whole Doja Cat situation, this whole, it's just too much. It's just too much everywhere. So we'll be back. We'll be back with more. We have more to talk about. Sometimes it'll be more related to wellness. This is wellness to me. Talking,
absolutely,
you know, shit and venting. This is like kind of a reiteration of like sick and tired, like being sick and tired of seeing the same shit over and over again, and seeing people get away with the same shit over and over again.
Absolutely,
and I think that Shaun King, like I said, I suggest you pack your bags. It's a wrap. You have been, you know, called out over and over and over and over again by multiple Black women. And there have been many people who can attest to, you know, your intentions not being pure. So honestly, at this point, I feel like I don't know what else needs to be said about this man for people to not support him anymore. But I'm a hope, God willing, something. Like,
gotta give.
Something's gotta give.
He can't continue forever. Forever. And the jig, if it's not already up, it's almost up. I'm telling you right now, it's almost up, because an expose comes out and you're like, but look, something shiny, guys. Look what I'm doing. No.
Like,
no.
It's
over.
I don't want to hear it. It is over. All right. Well, thanks for chatting with me.
Thank you.
I will be back soon. Hopefully, you know, in a week. You know, I don't know what day this is gonna go up. I'm trying for Wednesdays, but this shit might be Thursday. That's fine. And that's gonna be it. All right. I'll see you later, then. Bye.
Bye.